All right, welcome to the explainer. I want to ask you something simple, but kind of huge. What makes you, you? Today, we're going to dig into the layers of our identity, and believe me, our guide for this whole journey is, well, it's something you would never expect.
So let's just start right there. I mean, have you ever really, truly stopped to think about all the things, all the different forces that have molded you into the person you are today?
Is it your culture, the traditions, the art, the stuff you grew up surrounded by? Or is it more about the body you're in, your physical self? Or maybe it's just the sum of all the choices you've made? Well, the truth is, it's a messy, complicated, and fascinating mix of all of them.
And this is where our surprising guide comes in. You're not going to believe this, but the entire framework for today's explainer, it comes from a grade 8 textbook. Yeah, a textbook for music, arts, PE, and health. Sounds kind of basic, right? But honestly, it lays out this incredibly profound blueprint for understanding ourselves.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to work from the outside in. We'll start with the biggest, broadest layer of our identity, that shared culture that surrounds every single one of us. I mean, think about it. Is there anything that captures the spirit of a place quite like its music? It can be filled with devotion, it can celebrate community, it carries generations of shared history. It's literally the soundtrack to a collective identity. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, because cultural identity isn't some monolith. Take the Indonesian gamelan, for example. It's not just one sound. The Balinese style, it's famously super dynamic, really bright. But then you go to Java, and that same tradition splits into two completely different personalities. You've got this powerful, what they call loud style, and then a much more reflective, soft style. And it's not just about region. Music also adapts to its purpose. Look at Thailand. The Pipit ensemble. It's loud, it's powerful, and it's built for that big energy of an outdoor ceremony or a drama. But then you have the Kring Sai ensemble, which is totally different. It's much softer, designed for the intimacy of an indoor show, where it's all about supporting the singers and dancers. And to make this less abstract, let's look at the actual instruments. You've got these tuned metal percussion instruments. They're called metallophones. And the kendang drum, that's what leads the whole ensemble. But the real heart of it, the spiritual center, it's the gong ageng. That massive, deep, booming gong that's seen as the very soul of the gamelan. Okay, so let's shift gears now from sound to sight. A culture's identity isn't just what you hear. It's also woven, quite literally, into its fabric. The clothes people wear, the art they create, that's another huge, visible layer of who they are as a people. You can actually read a whole story just by looking at traditional clothes. So in Indonesia, women often wear this elegant blouse called a kebaya, paired with a sarong. Right next door in Malaysia, you'll see Muslim women wearing the tudong head covering, and they also pair it with a sarong. It's a perfect example, isn't it? It shows how clothing can express a distinct national style and a shared regional heritage all at the same time. And look, these crafts, they are so much more than just pretty objects. You take something like batik, that iconic dyeing technique, that's a symbol of Indonesian identity itself. Then there's songget, this absolutely stunning hand-woven fabric that just shimmers with metallic threads. And the wayang kulit shadow puppets? Man, that's not just a show. Those are vessels for passing down ancient stories and myths from one generation to the next.
And again, just next door in Malaysia, they're expressing their identity through totally different but equally amazing artistic mediums. You've got the Wow Bulan, the moon kite, which is this incredible, intricate art form all on its own. They're also famous for their unique black clay jars called labu sayong, and for some really high-quality pewter work that you'll find in everything from fancy decorations to everyday items.
So, what have we seen? Culture gives us this incredibly rich external identity, right? It's expressed through sound, through sight, through touch. But who are we, the individuals living inside that culture? Well, our next layer pulls us away from the collective and gets deeply personal. We're turning inward to the very bodies we live in. Let's take a look at the physical blueprint of you. So what's part of this blueprint? First up, cardiovascular endurance. You can just think of this as your body's engine. It's all about how well your heart and lungs can pump oxygen to your muscles when you're working hard over a long period of time. Running, swimming, cycling, that kind of thing. Next, you've got muscular fitness, and this actually comes in two different flavors. First, there's muscular strength. That's all about pure, raw power, the maximum force you can exert in one go. Then there's muscular endurance. That's about stamina. How long can you keep going? How long can you sustain that effort? And the last two pieces of this physical puzzle are flexibility and body composition. Flexibility is pretty straightforward, right? It's just the range of motion you have in your joints. But body composition, that's key. It's not just about what you weigh. It's the ratio of muscle to fat to bone that makes up your unique physical self. Now, one common tool, and I should say it's a simplified tool, to get a quick snapshot of this is the Body Mass Index, or BMI. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's really just a basic ratio that compares your height to your weight. And the calculation itself is super simple. All you do is take your weight in kilograms, and then you divide that number by your height in meters squared. That number you get is then placed on a classification scale, something like this one here. It gives you a really general category, from underweight all the way up to obese. And again, while it's only one single piece of data, it is often used as a kind of simple guidepost to get a general sense of your health. Okay, so we've got our cultural backdrop, and we've got our physical blueprint. But now we're going to the deepest layer of all, the final layer of our identity. It's forged in our inner world. It's built day by day by the choices we make and the values we choose to live by. So let's connect this idea of choice to our physical selves by busting a really common myth. You hear it all the time. To be fit, you have to exercise every single day. But is that actually true? Is that the best choice? No way. Not even close. In fact, our little textbook guide makes this crystal clear. Your body needs time to recover. Taking at least one day off a week lets your body relax, repair, and adjust to all the hard work you're putting in. So you see, the choice to rest is just as important to your identity as a healthy person as the choice to exercise is. And this brings us to the very engine of that inner world we were talking about, our ability to make decisions. This 6-step process right here, it's an incredibly powerful tool. Now, it starts, of course, by identifying the problem. But look at step 2. This is the most important part. You have to identify your values. What do you actually believe in? From there, you can explore your options, weigh the consequences, and then you act. This whole framework, it's not just about making a good choice. It's about making choices that line up with the person you genuinely want to become. So there you have it, from the sound of a gamelan in Indonesia all the way down to the BMI of our own bodies. We've seen how our identity is built layer by layer. Our culture, our biology, they might give us the blueprint, the starting point. But at the end of the day, we're the ones holding the pen. We are defining ourselves with every single choice we make. So the only question left is, what will you draw next?